Are subscribing to the Football Terrace. Get these likes up on this show right now, please, people. Get that done. Next question kind of filters into a team we do need to talk about because they are winless since football returned, and we're not talking about Manchester United. I just need to point that out. We're not talking Man United. We are no longer winless since the international break. But, of course, Chelsea haven't won a game since football returned. Late equaliser to Brentford, beaten by Bayern Munich, beaten by Manchester United. What are we saying about them at the moment, Tom? Because they won the Conference League, they won the World Club Cup, they're world champions. Large percentage of their fans, if we speak about the fans, especially that are in the Football Terrace community, praise their summer, love their signings. Prominent Chelsea fans who have a big following, like Don, didn't want Donnarumma over Rob Sanchez, and as an example. They're constantly defending that element, but I mean, he himself was massively culpable for that defeat. But I will praise Man United here. It was a game where we started like a freight train, could have scored 2 goals before the red card as well. Let's not forget those facts of the matter here. But Chelsea look a little bit vulnerable at the minute and not able to pick up these wins. And even Maresca, I mean, we spoke about it on this morning's show, but if we're going to call Arteta a coward, I mean, what do you call taking off all your attackers 3 minutes into a game? But leaving Palmer on the pitch when you know he's got a knock. I mean, talk to me, because Chelsea at the minute, not looking great.
It's almost like, this whole Club World Cup thing and, oh my God, this Chelsea team are there. They're not there yet. The Chelsea are not there as a team at the top, and that is fine. But I'm not... The whole summer I was told that they're there, they're this, they're that. At the end of the day, this Chelsea team, I've said it for 2 years now. I've said it for so long. When your defense is that and your goalkeeper is that, you will not win the major honours. You won't. You will not win a Premier League or a Champions League when you have Bob Sanchez in goal and a centre-back rotation of Fofana, Chalobah, Colwill and Tosin. The manager had got it incredibly wrong. He got every single part of that game wrong, which is impressive to do. He had 3 centre-backs to pick from, and he picked the 2 wrong options, considering Benjamin Sesko. About the only thing he's got on his locker, in my opinion, is his physicality. He can jump quite high. So you pick your 2 worst in-the-air defenders to mark him. That's where the goal comes from. Then it's almost like trying to be too tactical and too big-brained. Let me take off all my wingers now and overload the midfield, and then I've got it all there, and then we can do this, that, and that. No. What happened was you took off all your wingers, you overload the midfield, and then when you got your opportunities against a team that is so low on confidence, is so vulnerable defensively, you had absolutely no outball. The only way Chelsea could get off the pitch was a long ball to Joao Pedro, and then he had to hold it up for 10 seconds to wait for one of Enzo Fernandez or Andre Santos to make a run beyond them. It was idiocy. Palmer shouldn't... If Palmer was injured and you start him and you're going, look, he might give me 45, and then you get a red card, it's your chance. You just go, look, we're not going to do it. We'll keep the wingers on. We'll play on the counter. You take your wingers off, then you're forced into another one because Palmer can't be there. It just... Everything about it made 0 sense. And then what it meant was when Manchester United, mainly Casemiro, fucked it. You had no way to punish them until you brought a winger on. And then you brought the wrong winger on. Why are you bringing on Tiny George and not going at you? It made no sense. United, in that second half, took off Sesko, which I think was the wrong move, went to a deep, 5, whatever. 5.
It wasn't. We won the game.
Okay, so if we're doing that, it worked. But in my opinion, you shouldn't have took Sesko off because it meant you lost a big outlet and you lost a way to get out when you won the ball back.
Did it cost us the game?
It didn't cost you the game because Chelsea didn't capitalise on it.
Because we stopped them from attacking.
No,
we stopped them.
But my bigger point here is, when I'm saying the manager got everything wrong, the moment you take your outlet off and you're struggling to get off the pitch consistently, why is he bringing on a right back?
Who?
Why is he bringing on a right? He brought on Malo Gusto with his last 2 subs.
Oh, okay. I forgot about.
Why is he bringing on a right back? Why is he not putting on another attacker and trying to get as many players forwards against such a weak?
Yeah, but you know what? No, but you know what? No, the reason he took Gusto off is because Cucurella got an orange yellow, if that makes sense. That was a very bad lungy tackle, and we were countering, and it was wet and slippery, and he was exhausted. And I think what he was protecting against was another yellow card coming against Cucurella, because I think Cucurella was one more foul away and would have gone. And I mean, I would have loved to have seen that 10 versus 9 in that weather. It would have. I mean, it was the most Manchester weather you could ever see in your whole life. But what do you guys think of that? Of what Chet said, like of Chelsea, because they're kind of. I want to say this with some respect to Chelsea. The level of criticism they didn't get, I thought, was quite interesting, because it was 3 games without a win. Man United got more criticism. Amorim was spoken about more after the game for taking Šeško off than their manager. I felt the narrative was, I don't expect a witch hunt. I think that would be ridiculous. But I was kind of confused that most of the headlines relating to that game were about United.
Yeah, honestly, it's a bit perplexing to me. I obviously, on my last appearance on the show, I said Chelsea were hugely overrated, and I said their midfield was overrated. And surprisingly, a lot of people did agree with me. I was expecting to get abuse for that. But I think their frailties are getting shown. I think United did what they needed to do. Everyone criticises defensive performance, but you're up. They're down to 10 men. Packing out, getting a bit more defensive is the right thing to do, in my opinion. Maybe not taking Šeško off, but because he is an outlet. But I think Man United did the right thing to do, and they beat Chelsea. No one predicted historically, Chelsea are pretty poor at Old Trafford anyway, but most people were not expecting Manchester United to win this game. They got the win. They got a big 3 points. So I don't really get where the criticism's from. I think it was one of Manchester United's better performances this season against us. Everyone says there's a strong Chelsea side, but I think it just exposes the holes that Chelsea do have. Their back line is not good enough. Their goalkeeper is horrific. Even the midfield, even before Man United started that, they were the better midfield out of that. There's a game plan against Manchester United to exploit this team. A lot of players, even Grimsby, managed to exploit this Manchester United team. Chelsea didn't. No invention at top. I think the constant recycling of their team, I didn't rate their transfer window really, and there's not as much cohesion there. Obviously, the red card makes a big difference, but I think the criticism of Man United, I think there should be more praise for United. They've got the 3 points against the top 6 rival, which is a big thing. It's a big 3 points. Chelsea do need more criticism, but I just don't seem to see it. Arsenal are getting more criticism for a draw than Chelsea are for losing. So I don't get how it makes any sense at all, really.
Can I just say as well,
we're a bigger club. That's why it makes sense.
That Enzo Fernandez, the fact Enzo Fernandez has gone under the radar this year for how crap he's been.
He's so overrated. It's ridiculous. 2 years ago, he was really heavily criticised. Now there's nothing.
He's a net negative in that midfield. He's more often than not a liability. The biggest thing for Chelsea was midweek, and I know we're talking about the United game, but I do want to talk. This Chelsea team, they're going on about, we're going to be dark horse in the Champions League, we're going to be this, we're going to be that. They got dismantled by Bayern Munich. They got dismantled tactically and quality-wise by Bayern Munich. And this is a Bayern Munich team that, I mean, we done a draw show, Terry. I don't think any of us put Bayern Munich as the favourites for the Champions League, or second or third. This is a Bayern Munich team that not many people are putting in this discussion to be, they're the best team in Europe. So you know what? Getting dismantled by them, it's not the worst thing in the world. You saw the players couldn't handle it. You saw the manager got tactically outclassed. Then you go to United, which is a game, albeit should be a confidence game because United that week. And then there's a massive cock-up because the players aren't good enough. And the manager once again shows he's not good enough. But if you dare criticise Chelsea, they come at you like hounds. Oh my God, how can you say that? Champions of the world, champions of this, that. And yet, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing why I should see this Chelsea thing as, they're there. I should be worried about Chelsea now. I'm not. Brentford, a mentality problem. Again, not seeing out that game. And it might have been offside. Bayern, quality problem, but they don't want to admit it. Chelsea, United, complete capitulation from the manager. 3 separate problems in the last 3 games that are big, big issues. I just don't see how we're going to be talking about this Chelsea team like this big I am. I'm having the success. There's about 2 good players in that team. There's about 2 players who I'm sitting there going, they're be a real top player in this. In if we're doing best team of the Premier League, at a push it's 2.
Palmer, Caicedo.
But I'm going to change the fictional football question. I was going to ask something about Robert Sanchez, but you said something that I liked even more as a question for the audience and the panel. And I'll throw this to Mr. Nobbins first of all. Fiction or fact? Is Enzo Fernandez is a net negative for Chelsea?
Oh. Well, based on this season?
I think, do you know what? Let's just do. He's been there 2.5 years, nearly 3 years now. Let's just base it on what he cost, how long he's been there. Does he make them better?
Right. Oh, if we're taking into account price, then yeah, absolutely. He's not justified his price tag, definitely. I was going to say that if we're just taking it in a vacuum, I think that Enzo's he's had a good couple of seasons at Chelsea, maybe 1.5. I don't know. Based on this season, no. If we're accounting for price tag, though, then there's very few players because he was 110, 105, something like that. It was a lot, wasn't it? There's not many players over 100 million that you'd say justified their price tag, really. He's certainly not one of them. So yeah,
106.8.
Yeah, that's mental. So yeah, I guess I'd have to say fact based off those parameters. Yeah.
Go on.
Even if you take out the price tag, I'm not sure if he's the right guy for them because I'm still confused by what Enzo Fernandez is as a midfielder because I don't think he's an engine and I don't think he's a creative outlet. So I'm still confused by him and I think he's just not good enough. I think he's in that midfield, he just becomes one of the guys, because when you have Palmer and Caicedo in there, you can see them being, oh man, this is an insane. These are top level players that really, really make a difference in the team. But for Enzo Fernandez, he's just there. And I don't think even if he cost 50 million, I think Chelsea should have been working on upgrading him. I think his price tag means that it's going to be very hard to justify moving him on. But I think if Enzo Fernandez cost 30 million, I would have been looking at trying to actually sign a real 100 million pound or whatever midfielder. So I don't think he justifies.
You wouldn't swap him for Rice then?
No one would swap him for Rice. No one here would swap him for Rice.
Kane, what do you make of Enzo Fernandez?
I think when you can say this for a lot of players, like when they're good, when they're bad, they're bad. I think with their midfield, I think depth-wise, we spoke about kind of Arsenal top to bottom, how I think the best depth in the league. That midfield, I saw Andre Santos last year at Strasbourg, and I think he was exceptional there, and there was a lot of hype about him, and I thought he would maybe have more of a prominent place in this Chelsea team. You saw when he came on midweek against Bayern, he looked good. He looked for Cole Palmer with the offside goal, and Lavia, unfortunately, has been ridiculed with injuries. And I think Chelsea's midfield works best when there is Caicedo, Enzo, and someone else. I don't think he's perfect in a pivot because he's not necessarily got the engine. People joke about how he's a deep lying, box crashing number 10. Like, he doesn't have a fixed position. I'm still uncertain on him. I think there was this case we were talking about on the pod last week. It was like, if all the big six clubs, the midfielders, they did like a draft of, you could have each midfielders. We said Enzo would probably be like a bottom 2 draft pick out of all the big clubs in Europe, because unfortunately, when you want it, if it's a DM, you want the Rices, the Gravenberch, the Caicedos. If it's more of a CM role, the Pedris, the Fatiños, maybe the McAllisters. Enzo isn't the better cam if you have a Palmer, a Wirtz. He's not a best centre mid. He's not a best DM.
Bruno.
So, yeah. 100 goals. 100 goals for United isn't something to scoff at. So I'll put him there. Enzo just isn't, he doesn't excel in a specific position. So, yeah.
I hear that. On Chelsea, though, I was looking at their record here. Look, drew with Palace, a very good team, unbeaten this year. They drew with them at home, though. Still haven't seen another free kick ruled out for a player standing too close to the wall. Could have gone the other way. They then beat West Ham 5-1, smash them, but West Ham, we have to admit, just context, are poop. They beat Fulham 2-0, but there was a controversial goal disallowed in that game, which could have changed it, but they won the match. They then draw with Brentford. Yes, controversy in Brentford's equaliser, so maybe you say that equals it up with the Fulham game. Beaten by Man United. I would say they haven't played a single team that any of us think will be in the top 5. Palace are very good. They've not played any of the the real good teams or the other Champions League teams as of yet.
The only Champions League team they got played off the park by Bayern.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I mean, should Chelsea... I'm not saying Chelsea fans should panic. I'm someone that's predicted them to have a really good season, but I'm playing host here rather than giving an opinion. Should Chelsea fans be a little worried? They've got Brighton and Liverpool in their next two games. Then they're away to Forest. Then they play Sunderland. Then they've got Tottenham. I mean, the good thing for them is they don't really seem to have any blocks of games where they're up against loads of really good teams. There's always kind of like a really winnable game in between them, but they haven't really got going yet this season. And there was a lot of talk about being in title races, but falling off maybe, but firmly being within the top 4. And although they're only a couple of points away because they have got those draws and wins, they're not looking convincing right now. Would that be fair to say?
I think Chelsea fans just overrate their players a lot as well. When I was on the stream, one of them said they got the best midfield in the world. Chalobah will start for Liverpool. When you're saying things like that, then there should be stick against it. It's just like they're just not true statements.
Sorry, who said that?
I can't remember who said it on the last show, but they said it caused quite a bit of outrage. Yeah. But he said he would start over Konate.
Well, look,
what was start for Chelsea?
Yeah, look, I mean, I want to say that could have been Quest. If it wasn't Quest, it may have been CB. One of the two said that about
I can't remember who said it, but someone said it.
One of the two gentlemen said that. But obviously, we know Don. I think Don has gone on record as saying he got one of the best midfields in the Prem, if not the best midfield.
Last season, he said outright. I remember Tom and I were here and we were pushing him on it, and he claimed that they have the two best defensive midfielders and the best player.
Oh, yeah.
Palmer.
Romeo Lavia is one of the best defensive midfielders in the league, despite the fact he's played 1,000 minutes across the last three years.
So, yeah, I mean, look, there are some. I'm not saying it's all because we can't categorize all Chelsea fans that way, but I do feel it's. I mean, listen, I would say this. I would say pound for pound, it's been a worse start to the season than Manchester United. You know, we've had to play Arsenal and we've had to play Manchester City, who are tough games. We are not as good as Chelsea. That's also been said as well.
1 point behind them.
And we're 1 point behind them. And I think that, you know, one of the other fiction, I mean, I'll ask it now because it's kind of part of it. One of the other fiction or fact questions I had is 7 points in 5 games is actually a good start. It's actually a good start for Manchester United. And for me, I mean, I remember, and this is why, again, context always key. I predicted 7 points in our first 5 games. And I did it on this show and I was fucking laughed